Tell me about the first perspective shift that you've had.
Ooh, well, I've gone through a couple. Um, in so I'll just a quick backstory. I've been huge my whole life. Like I was 200 pounds by the age of 9, right? So I've always been bigger and I've always been taller. Um, in 2020, I kind of realized that I wanted to stay alive. As silly as that sounds, right? Like for years, I hated my body so much I didn't care whether I lived or died. But once I came to that realization that I wanted to be alive, I'm like, well, if I'm going to live, I might as well not suffer. Right. So that was the first perspective shift. It was like, okay, if I'm going to live, I don't want to live like this. Right. But those 4 years, 2021 through or 2020 through 2024, I didn't have the mental strength to, whenever life threw something really hard at me, I just went back into my old ways. Right.
And that was binge eating.
And that was, yeah, like just doing like really dumb shit that I hadn't done in a while and just gaining all the weight back. And I would like stop counting calories or whatever, you know? But, and I don't know where this came from, but my entire life, God has had the desire on my heart to start a family. And this year, and I don't know why it took until this year, man, but this year in January, I had that perspective shift of, if I fail this journey and this transformation, that's not just failing myself, because I didn't care whether or not I failed myself really, but it would also be failing and putting the future of my future wife and kids in potential jeopardy.
Mm.
And once that clicked, bro, I've lost 125 pounds since January. And I'm at a point now where I'm lower than I've been since close to probably 2018, 2019.
Awesome.
So that was my most recent larger perspective shift. Like obviously like day to day there can be like smaller ones, but that was like the one that really hit me hard.
Hmm. Along the way and just kind of getting started, you I don't want to make it too much about like social media and stuff like that because that's not really the
Mm-hmm.
purpose of this. More to get to know you. We've had a couple different conversations, and the way this relationship started is I saw one of your reels, and you had just kind of posted something about um, people on TikTok that will like talk shit
Yeah.
when you're just a dude trying to like better his life. And I
Yeah,
noticed.
the absurdity of it is what intrigues me. Like I don't even let those comments get to me. I used to do broadcasting full time, so I've heard it all. But the
Mhm.
fact that people will just like unironically take the time to talk shit to a dude who's literally just trying to improve his life is wild to me.
And not even taking the time to understand what's going on. It's like it's so funny because it's just the world we live in. And it's really sorry, but I love the fact that we ended up running that as a collab, and it's brought a lot of attention. We've done really well with that reel. It's a lot of people are in there really supporting you, bringing you along. There's like fucking thousands of comments and tons of shares and tons of activity in there, and it's all really positive. And there's a
Yeah.
lot of people there, and there's a lot of people cheering you on, and that's great. And for a lot of people, that would be fuel. And this is kind of the
Yeah.
reason I brought this up, was to kind of circle back to what you were saying is like your why. And your why is to not fail your future self, so you can start a family someday, and attract that the person for you.
Yeah.
Um, I want to give you a different perspective. Okay,
Okay.
can I?
Yeah. Absolutely.
So your why, and I love that, exactly what you said, and that's the end result, right? Or that's one of the end results,
It
right?
can be a byproduct of the journey for sure. Yeah.
It's a byproduct of the journey, your why, and understanding this. So obviously I've been through a transformation myself, and sobriety and all of that. And I'm gonna relate this to my sobriety journey, because my why for getting fit originally was not a positive why whatsoever. But my why for getting sober originally was to win back a fiance that basically pushed me out because of my drug use and alcohol dependency. And we had built a life together, we had a home together, we had a blended family and all of that. So my goal was like, I'm going to take back everything, I'm going to do it for my family and all of that. And it was very eye opening about 3 months into my journey of getting sober, that couldn't be the why. um, and numerous conversations, but mostly all the work that I had done on myself up here and spiritually, woke me up to the fact that when the airplane goes down, we put the mask on ourselves first so we can assist the person next to us. Airline understands that until your needs are met, you will not be able to meet the needs of someone else. You are your why.
Yeah.
Living the best life possible, becoming the most elite Ethan Benard possible for you, will attract the perfect woman and mate to start a family with.
Yeah.
It's about
Absolutely.
that's the byproduct, right? So your reasoning and all of that is spot on. Is brilliant, and it's something that actually really touched me. Like it really touched me. Um, but I would challenge you to be incredibly selfish during this time.
Yeah.
You know, and honestly, it's not as if like, that person's not there quite yet, so you're allowed to be, and you should be. And this is a great time for you to grow immensely. And as much as it is about being physically in better condition, I believe that this is about spiritual.
Oh, for sure, man. Like honestly, the season of growth that I've been in this year is almost unfathomable. Like 4 months ago, I was I'm not a different person, but I like in a sense like a completely different person than I was 4 months ago.
Mhm.
Like I'm still
I
who I
believe that.
am, right? I'm still who I am, and all my beliefs and convictions and my thoughts are there. But so much has changed so quickly, and that's been changed not just like physically. That's like a lot of mental and spiritual growth in that too.
Do you find, and just me, this is just me asking you this because this is something that I noticed, that like the more disciplined I got, the more that I buried into like a program, whether it was nutrition, whether it was my brotherhood, the people in my life, that I was actually exposed to more of my flaws.
Yeah, absolutely. And
Tell me about that.
I think it's like even realizing like for me, man, like the one of the biggest things that I've grown in is like the self confidence stuff. Like my
Mhm.
mind, my brain was wired so in such like a toxic, convoluted way. Like you gotta like it's I gotta step back and realize, right, like this journey for me isn't just like weight loss, right? Like I literally spent my entire teenage years not caring about my body at all because I didn't think it was worth caring for. So I'm dealing with the spiritual, mental, and physical repercussions of basically having neglected care for myself for almost a decade. So now that I'm
What's
starting to realize like how like obviously I'm at a point now where I understand how stupid that was, but I'm learning more and more about just like how bad my brain and stuff was wired in terms of like what I thought about myself and that kind of thing.
On our
I
last,
know that's a lot,
well,
but
no, it's perfect. It's perfect. Um, and diving into the last decade, let's say, because again, you and I are both. It's wild to think we're both West Michigan boys. We're both 6'5", right?
yeah.
We were both big boys, fat boys growing up. And the truth is, in West Michigan, like the obesity is insane, right? The
Is
Midwest
it?
is, oh dude, the Midwest is like, yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I mean, nowadays everywhere is super obese, but the Midwest is
Yeah,
big.
I guess I never realized that it was like there was like a
Like
specific areas.
Wisconsin's like the fattest state.
Wow.
Um,
I did not know that.
yeah, yeah, cheeseheads. Um, but West Michigan is a very obese part of the country. Um, and there's a lot to be said about that. And in our last conversation, we were talking about fat shaming, right, versus body positivity,
Yeah.
and how they're both pretty toxic. And
Yeah, for sure. I think
and
both of them are really stupid.
100%. I want to throw another one in the mix because us both being from, and you're from Allegan too,
Mhm.
right? And so like all those like subsects of like Grand Rapids, Kalamazoo, Battle Creek, are all very, very mediocre.
Okay.
I want to talk about toxic mediocrity because, right, we have fat shaming being one side. Okay.
Toxic mediocrity. I've never heard or considered that term.
I just made it up,
Okay.
right? Where essentially it's like the problem doesn't exist unless it's a life or death problem. Meaning where it's
Mhm.
like, oh, that's Ethan. He just likes to eat a lot. We'll just let him do his thing. Right.
Yeah.
It's not like Ethan, bro, like you got to figure this shit out, dude. Like it's getting out of control. Right. And it's not
So
like
I think a better way that I would, at least in my mind, comprehend that is like a toxic complacency, right?
same thing. Complacency,
Yeah,
mediocrity.
like
Yeah.
not so you're coming at it from the angle of like not like if you
Want it
like
to be
from like a
better.
friend's perspective, or are you talking about like yourself, right?
Friends and family.
Yeah.
Right. Because,
No,
because,
for
because,
sure.
because, because, because fat shaming would be like, what the fuck are you doing, fat boy? Like, like you put the fucking pizza down, like whatever. And I think that there needs to be some of that in the world right now because obesity is insane. And then
It's hard, man, because I think there's a big difference between letting someone letting someone that you love know that you think that they should change to be healthier, and a difference between just like giving people shit for it, right?
yeah, well, and there's another thing too is that there's nothing that anybody can tell you that's going to make you change. It's got to be you,
Yeah,
right?
you have to find the
But
reason why.
so almost toxic body positivity or body positivity is far more toxic than any of it
No,
because
I would agree. I would
you're
agree for sure.
encouraging somebody's death.
Yeah, I think the body positivity thing, man, it's a slippery slope, Justin, because you have all these people that take it out of context and they go, "Well, oh, you think body positivity is bad? Why shouldn't you love yourself?" Did you hear what I just said? Body positivity is bad. Body positivity in itself is not the act of loving yourself, right? Body positivity, the whole notion of it is like being happy with your body as it is, which you should not have an issue loving yourself, right?
Well, yeah,
But
and the problem is that it only
it
ever
shouldn't be used as an excuse to not want to better yourself if you're living an unhealthy lifestyle physically.
correct. The only time body positivity ever really comes to fruition is in incredibly obese people. It doesn't. If I take my shirt off and I take a mirror selfie and I'm like, check out my fucking washboard abs and all of that, I don't get body positivity. I get people go, that's a douchebag. It's not body positivity, right? But if you take somebody who is morbidly obese and they're struggling with something, to be like, oh,
Well,
you're
I don't
fine
even
the
think it
way you
has to be
are.
someone who's super fat. You know what I mean? Like, I think someone just out of shape, and I think a lot of just people of all sizes
Sure.
will use that term to um maybe try to get a more positive notion towards towards their appearance. And it's like it's fine to like how you look, man. It's fine to like, obviously you should love yourself, but the whole body positivity thing in a lot of cases is used to almost promote being unhealthy. And that's
In
where it
my
becomes an
eyes,
issue.
it would be the same as like drug addict positivity. Like, oh, you're fine the way you are. Keep using crystal meth.
I think that's an extreme comparison, but yeah, you're not
How?
wrong.
How? How? Meth heads probably live longer than obese people.
Yeah. Dude, I understand how nasty being obese is. I've lived it. I'm living it,
Same.
right? Like, but I don't think that that's the only thing that the whole body positivity thing is used for. I think it's such a term that's so widely spread now that it's not just like super fat people using it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think there is like somewhere deep under that shit, there is like a positive notion to it. But like I said, I think more times than not, unfortunately, it ends up being used to promote being unhealthy, which is where the actual issue with it lies.
And the topic is polarizing, right? The topic
Yeah.
is polarizing, and so is fat shaming. Both of them are very polarizing. But that's where that idea of toxic
Yeah,
complacency,
because
mediocrity,
the fat shaming thing is stupid. Like,
it is.
if you're giving someone shit for how they look, you're an idiot.
You're an idiot.
Now, there is a difference between fat shaming and caring about the people that you love.
100%.
But if it's a stranger on the internet and you don't know them,
Fuck you.
shut up.
Yeah,
What the hell? It's
100%.
none of your business, man.
So my issue then is right back to what I was talking about. So we can call it toxic complacency, toxic
Yeah.
mediocrity, toxic enabling. That's the silent killer.
Yeah.
That's the mom that's like, oh honey, you're fine the way that you are. Let me feed you some more. You're hungry. Let's go out to dinner.
Yep.
That's the Midwest mom. I don't know if you knew that. That was my mom.
The Midwest mom. Yeah,
That's the
dude.
Midwest mom, honey. What do you want for dinner? Oh, we'll get something quick. We'll go to McDonald's, and there's like no control over what I would order. It was like, oh, eat whatever. You're a growing boy. You know what I mean? And that was the silent killer. Toxic enabling, toxic mediocrity, toxic complacency. You don't need to be better. You're fine the way you are.
Yeah. Yeah, that's rough. I think that is an interesting topic because I feel like that applies to a lot of different types of people who need to change,
Well,
right?
let me ask you this. Do your parents battle with obesity?
Not really. My mom's lost quite a bit of weight, so she did for a while.
Historically, though, was she heavy?
Uh Not when she was younger.
Okay.
Recently,
Not morbid obesity, but even just like
no.
no.
No, she's lost like 50 pounds. She wants to lose like 15 more. She looks good. You know, it wasn't like anywhere near what I'm dealing with.
And dad,
No, he's fine.
he's fine.
Yeah. He's a hardworking man. He looks good. He's got like a little bit of a belly, but he's down to his like high school weight right now.
So what was their issue with you as you started to get big?
Dude, it was pretty wild. Like we went to like specialists, and when I was like 10 years old, we started switching. My mom, I think, literally switched to like using all like organic, all natural, everything. We got rid of all the artificial stuff, and there was a big like shift in like the quality of what we were eating and a lot of good changes in that sense, but there was never a just a good enough hold on it to stop it from becoming what it did become, you know?
So in other words, they allowed you to eat as much as you were eating.
Yeah, pretty much. Like, well, I spent a lot of time alone as a kid too because they were busy. So
So okay, and that time,
it
and
was
that
a
time you
pretty
were
it was a pretty nasty just like combination of circumstances, you know?
okay.
But like listen, man, like yeah, I like in some sense they have some responsibility of that, but I am 100% willing to take ownership of what I did. Like
Well, so
I consider myself the primary reason why I am what I am.
yeah, everything's our fault, right?
Yeah.
Everything is our fault. The only way we can grow is from that. But that kind of leads me to a question. This is a brutal question. Okay. And this is more directed towards young kids who can't decide for themselves.
Mhm.
Okay. I was at the Orange County Fair last weekend with my son. And my son, like his macros are calculated. He knows what to eat. He knows how much protein he's supposed to
Mhm.
have. He's 13 years old. Okay. And you see a lot. Michigan is culturally diverse. It's not like Southern California, but you see a lot of families that are very like a lot of Hispanic families here in Southern California, like very much like that's pretty much the population in Orange County, especially at places like the Orange County Fair, and everybody is morbidly obese. Okay. And you'll see kids 5, 6, 7, 9, 10, 12 years old that are morbidly obese and their parents are morbidly obese. Do you believe that allowing your children to be morbidly obese is neglect, abuse, any of the above?
Probably. Yeah. Absolutely.
Because everything's our fault. But when you're a kid and you can't decide for yourself, and that's the lifestyle of the household is to overeat, it's tough.
Yeah.
It's really tough.
And that wasn't really the lifestyle of the household. That was just the lifestyle of me, you know?
Correct. But
So,
how
but
old? But
no,
how
I
old?
understand what you're saying, man. Like the thing is, like at the end of the day, like in my circumstance, it doesn't really matter.
Mhm.
It's done. Like I would,
No,
I
no,
would,
no,
I
no.
would, I
I'm
no,
just
no, like no,
I'm
I see
saying
what
for
you're
anybody
saying.
listening
But
to
like for
this,
me, I would literally rather kill myself than allow my kids to go through what I went through.
totally.
I wouldn't allow it.
So the
My
lesson is
parents and my, you gotta realize, man, my parents did realize what was happening. We just were obviously never able to get a good enough hold on it to stop it from becoming worse, especially as I got older and became more independent, but made those decisions myself. Right.
yeah, that makes it tough.
So,
That makes it tough.
but no,
You
like
know,
obviously, yeah, if you're a parent and you're letting your kid to go down that path, I think that's disgusting. I would literally didn't even want to live as a teenager. I know what it's like to grow up like that. It's not worth it. Like it's worth living, but like it's a horrible youth to have. And I would sooner end my life than allow my future children to go through what I did. I just wouldn't. It just wouldn't happen. There's no way. So, but I don't hold that against my parents, man. Like I know they love me more than anything on the planet, and they were
yeah,
aware of it, and they tried to make changes towards it. And at the end of the day, I was just the circumstances of like how often I was alone and the decisions that I made turned into what it was, you know?
yeah. I obviously I'm an incredible accountability, just insane accountability. Everything is my fault. Everything always has been my fault. I do look at I do look at like, so my dad managed my diet when he could, but he was building a business when I was a kid. He wasn't really around much, and I don't fault him for that whatsoever because it allowed us to have a
Mm-hmm.
great life. You know who my family is. We, you know, when I, we were busy, you know.
Yeah.
I would tell you though, my mom definitely enabled me, that the toxic enabling was a thing. And I wish I would have had, a mom, because she was around, she was stay at home mom, so she was always around and allowed me to do whatever I wanted to do food wise, and even into my teens. And I look back at it now that I have a son who's in his teens, and as much as it is, and he has a very good understanding of accountability, and we go over it all. We have some principles that him and I discuss almost, every morning when he's with me. And the one thing is that it's always our fault. Everything's our fault. But at the same time, I look, when I watch his diet, and when I especially when he's here, um, like I'll ask him. I'll be like, "Is that, he'll be like, hey, I want to get a root beer," or he'll ask like first, like second or third. I'll let him get a root beer. I don't care about that. But like, he'll get on to like a second or third root beer. I'm like, dude, like, and because I can just picture myself as
Yeah.
his age, and as a fat boy, and not wanting to take my shirt off at the pool, and all of that. And I don't want to give him like body dysmorphia, and we can have that conversation too. But he's a really fit kid now. But if he doesn't pay attention to it, he could, he could get chubby. Um and he could, obviously go down the same road that I went down and battled with my entire teenage years. Um, and so, I try to stay very conscious of it, because I grew up with a mom who enabled me to eat whatever I wanted to eat. And I don't resent my mom for it whatsoever. But at the same time, it taught me a very valuable lesson. And acknowledging the fact that I wasn't able to do that as a kid, and probably at an age that I couldn't really decide for myself. I probably could, and I probably knew better, but you still need to have that structure and that discipline from your family, in my
Well, yeah,
opinion.
man. Like I didn't fucking know how many calories stuff had. I
Yeah,
didn't care about any of that stuff, dude. I didn't start like even knowing, like paying attention to calories and nutrition and stuff until like 2020.
yeah. It's pretty glaring in our face nowadays. It wasn't as talked about. Obviously, social media has made things a lot more relevant,
Yeah.
and a lot more, information is much easier to get. But then it's like, what information is correct? Right? Like, what
Yeah.
what is, what are you being taught, and what works, what doesn't. And in my opinion, every diet works as long as you stick to it. But some things are more effective than others. Um, One thing that we have in common, is that we both shared our journey. So I shared my journey when I was upwards of 400 pounds. I shared my journey the entire time. I cataloged my meal preps, and I obviously like filmed my workouts and things like that, and it allowed me to build a really nice brand for myself. What have you noticed mainly, other than like the obvious, the accountability and all of that? What do you think has been the most beneficial for you while sharing your journey?
For me, the only aspect in terms of like personal benefit, I think, was being able to turn it into something I can focus on full time, right? Like this is the social
Hmm.
media stuff is my full time now. Like I wasn't I when I started making these videos in May, I didn't care how many people saw them, because in my mind, right, I'm like, okay, if I'm going to put myself through the physical turmoil of the fitness side of things, because I had lost 100 pounds at that point, purely dietary. Um, I was like, if I'm going to put myself through the physical part of this, I might as well make videos about it, right? Because I'd had previous experience with social media and broadcasting and stuff, but so I started those pages and I just started uploading, man, and God put me in a really good position because I had the knowledge and the prior experience to kind of take that momentum that I had and just grab it. But now, 3 months later, I'm at a point where I can literally just focus on my journey and sharing that journey in a full-time capacity. And I can't I can't even state how much of a blessing that is to just be able to literally focus all of my time and energy into the journey itself because I wasn't in a position to do that previously. So by far, that is the biggest way that it's impacted my life.
Love it. The journey is way, way, way more valuable than the destination. That's for sure.
Yeah. Because like in my mind, right? Like I was like, okay, it doesn't matter how many people see these because once people see the before and after of a 6'5", 660-pound dude, that's when I'll get my exposure and that's when I'll start a business or whatever, right? Like I was always thinking end game. I wasn't thinking now, but when the momentum started now, I was like, oh shit, here we go.
Ethan, when I share my before and after, you've seen my before and after. When I like if I were on my Facebook and I just go a few months without sharing it, and I just put it out there, I'm like, look, I've been there. You know, I want to help you. My DMs are flooded. Bro.
Yeah.
Flooded. Like you wouldn't believe.
Yeah. And so it's like, think about it, man. Like I already knew the before and after that I'm going to have, right? Because I'm going from 660 at 6'5" to probably close to like 280, 285. I plan on having a lot of muscle, but still like with the height, right? That before and after was already so significant, like in hypothetically, right? Like it's already such a significant before and after that it would have been seen by so many people. But now imagine the platform and like the base that I will have by that time to launch that off of and how many more people will end up seeing it and being impacted by it because of
that. 100%. So that's your vision. I'll tell you for somebody like 6'5", so I'm 6'5", 6'5", 280. That's where I'm like my biggest, like my strongest, my most jacked is 6'5", 280. And I'm huge at that size. I'm like Rob Gronkowski.
Yeah, because I'm built like a linebacker, bro. I'm 6'5", and I've got like these really wide shoulders.
Yeah. I have found myself to feel my best, and everybody's different. So I'm just relating to you because obviously,
no, I appreciate
we're the same
man.
height. I have found that I feel my best at like 240.
Wow. Okay.
So I'm like right now I'm like 238, to 240, just depending on if I refeed or not. And 32-inch waist. I find that just like all in all general health, like when I'm like jacked at 280, my joints hurt. Like I feel like very just because I've been both, right? I've had a six pack at 280, right? I have a six pack at 239. I've just found that like I'm more mobile, my breathing's better, my sleep's better, and all of the things are better. Now, 280,
that's awesome, dude.
6'5" at 280 is impressive. That's an impressive man, right? And I can tell you that right now. Like when you stand at 6'5" at 280 and you're built, it's you turn heads. Trust me. You turn heads.
I'm really curious about the skin removal too, man, because that's something that I've just accepted is going to be obviously an inevitable.
Oh yeah. So you'll definitely have to
think about how much weight that in itself could potentially take off with how big I am, dude.
Yeah, the 360. So yeah, you're going to get a 360, right? Like, have you kind of already started looking at?
I haven't talked to doctors yet, so I don't really know like how.
Well, get there first, right? Get there first.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing. That's what I'm saying, man. Because I have to get down to. at least like 325, if not closer to 300 itself, before I can start looking at that.
Yeah, no, it's not important right now. But I have a client that's down close to 300 pounds that we're pricing it out and doing all of that. And it's a procedure, dude. Holy shit.
Oh yeah.
There's another cat that I'll probably introduce you to. His name is Jude. He's lost I think 400 pounds, and he had two skin removals, I believe two different procedures done. And I think he has one more that he's got to do for it to be like his most elite physique. So he
Hmm.
might be someone that you want to connect with. He's a cop down in Florida.
Okay.
Really cool guy. So I'll probably connect you with him. Um, Let me ask you this last question, and this is something that I want to be able to clip because I think this is important
Yeah.
for anybody that is in a situation like where you started, where they're thinking about um, making this change for themselves. What is one thing that you can tell them to expect, and how would you help them get through it?
Ooh. I think the hardest thing to deal with on this journey is the scale. I think
Mm.
way too many people put so much weight in what that number is. Like people on social media, right? Like look at my comments, bro. 80% of people, and there's some people that realize that the scale isn't the only thing that matters, but most people will literally base their entire perception of how your journey's going based off of that singular number.
Mm.
If you can get yourself to a point where you understand the science behind it and you understand, like, if you stay in your deficit and you're active and you're honest with yourself with your tracking and you track everything, and you can get to yourself to that point of mental understanding where you know you're making progress, even if the scale doesn't reflect it, that's going to help a lot. Because if you let the scale get to you, that's when you start to backslide.
Yeah. Yeah. The scale's going to change just based on water and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That's
Like,
for
dude,
sure.
I'm telling you, and like, I know I may not be eating the best calories right now, right? And I don't know that, but I ate in a deficit, a pretty big deficit for my size this week. I was active, I was consistent at the gym, and I feel good about what I did this week. But that scale was up 10 pounds.
Mhm. Yeah, I noticed like when I was in the middle of my transformation, like anytime I had a big increase, it usually followed with a pretty drastic decrease.
Yeah.
So I would go up, and then the next day I would come down like about 4 pounds. So I'd go up like 7, 8 pounds, come down four, and then that next day I was down like six.
Yeah. And that's what
So
sucks about the weekly weigh in, right? Like, I don't want to weigh in on video every single day. I probably should for like a month, but
you should
there's,
weigh in. No, you should weigh in every. So I'll tell you this. And then as much as like, and we're the way that we definitely coach is for people to understand the scale.
mhm,
But I so like I have a coach myself, right? I check in with my coach every single morning with my weight. Because it's not about the weight. The weight doesn't matter. You
yeah.
know, when I check in, like the other day, I had a refeed, for example, and I checked in at and I went fucking nuts on sushi. Okay, I ate 9 rolls. Okay, I like to get full too. Okay, now of course I didn't have a cheat meal for 3 weeks, so I went nuts, and I woke up and I was at 246. Okay,
Yeah.
so I was up 7 pounds from where I was the night before. Okay, and of course, when you have that many carbs, like all of a sudden you're like full, you're just like you're super jacked, veiny, everything. Like you look good, but the scale didn't matter. I didn't think like, oh my god, I gained 7 pounds. Right. The next day, I went in and I hit legs and put it to use. Right. That was so. This was on Friday night. Was my sushi night. Saturday came down to 242, 244.
Yeah.
Okay. This morning, 237. Right? Like it doesn't, it's not important. But the point is to know where your food and your water's at. So daily weigh-ins are really valuable for me because I know like where my food and my water's at. And it's a good way for me to track throughout so I know what to expect when I do have a refeed or when I do go on vacation. I know like what to expect as I go. I don't have a problem with daily weigh-ins, just as long as you don't let it get to you. So like
Yeah.
it's funny because when I check in with my dietitian, my coach, and you know, I spent some serious money on coaching for myself, you know, and I coach and I coach coaches. I'm one of the best transformation coaches in there. I still pay for coaching. Um, but when I check in with him and I tell him my weight, he doesn't talk about the weight. He asks me, how do you feel? And I'll tell him exactly how I feel. And then he'll say, are you happy with the look? And usually I'll send him a pretty gay selfie because it's funny. I'm just kidding. How do you feel? And are you happy with your look?
Wow. Yeah, that's interesting because
And I,
that's like so that's like an interesting perspective because I didn't really think about it, right? Because like you're like, for lack of better phrasing, physical peak, right?
yeah,
So you would be happy with how you look. For me, I feel like that question is different, right? Like I think for me, it's more of like the how do you feel, you know?
yeah. How do you feel? So if we were to ask you, like, are you happy with the look? Meaning, are your clothes fitting better,
Mm,
looser,
yeah.
right? That would be more or less what the are you happy with your
Yeah.
look?
No, okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. Because of course, the way that I look after $200 worth of sushi, all consumed by me, is I look like a freak show. But if I looked at the scale and I cared about that number, I would lose my shit.
Yeah. Well,
I would
that's
lose.
the thing. That's what I struggle with the weekly weigh-ins, man. Because like I'm not trying to use this as an excuse, right? Like I am pretty open about what I do when I slip up, yada yada yada. I don't care about that. But the issue with the weekly weigh-ins, like I think it's really good content and I think it's good for accountability. But at the same time, at my size, with like my inflammation and stuff, like my weight is so sporadic. I can literally, like, without changing much of anything, I can go up or down like 5 or 6 pounds on the scale a day.
Yeah, that's a
So
good shit too.
yeah, like that's the thing. Like there's so many factors. So weighing in once a week on camera is cool for these weekly weigh-ins, but it's like I just feel like it doesn't give like a great, like obviously there is a downward trend in the end, right? But those weeks where you're like, oh, I went up 10 pounds, that doesn't, I feel like that doesn't like help, you know? I
You
think
know,
it's,
you know that I have other opinions about that.
yeah,
You know that I have other opinions about that. But I think once you actually have your nutrition super dialed in, you're not going to have those weeks.
yeah,
I do not think that you should be going up 10 pounds.
no, I agree 100%.
You know what I mean? A week, like in a week, you should see a very steady decline and only a decline. There should not ever be a week where you're up 10 pounds. That to me tells me something's way off.
Yeah, no, and I
Way
agree.
off.
And I acknowledge that too, right? Like I'm not saying I ate too many calories this week, but I probably ate all the wrong calories this week. And it was
Probably.
also the most calories I've consumed this year. So
You could be very inflamed from the food that you ate.
yeah.
There's a number of things that went along with it. There would be no reason if you were, because even if you ate 2,800 calories, you're still at a deficit
Yeah,
based
I
on your
shouldn't. That's
weight,
what I'm
right?
saying. Like I shouldn't be gaining fat, right?
No,
But
no,
there
no, you're
is
not. No, but
something's there.
yep,
Right?
you're holding water, you're inflamed. There's a number of things that are there. So yeah, that's where it would be like we got to look at like everything that you're eating in that time because something sets you up. It's not fat. I mean, you know, it's very unlikely that it's fat, but you should never in a week's time, if you're eating at a deficit at your size, there would never be a reason for you to go. That would be concerning for you to go 10 pounds from the week prior. Like that would be very, very concerning. That would tell me
Yeah.
that something's completely wrong with your diet. 10 pounds. You know what I mean? If you stayed the same, maybe went up a pound, I'd be like, okay, well, we might probably
Yeah.
got to look at this a little bit closer. 10 pounds is like, okay, what'd you fucking eat? Like 10 boxes of cereal?
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the thing, man. Like it's so I've never understood it, and I know there's so many different factors, but it's like I feel like it literally, if I eat over 2,500 calories a day, I gain weight. That's just like
That's
what
not
I've
fair.
experienced. That's what I've experienced in the past.
There's
And
no
I
way.
know I'm probably eating the wrong kind of calories, but like, that's what I'm saying. Like, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. Like, if I feel like if I starve myself, I see the progress. And then as soon as I start to satiate myself, which I'm probably doing with the wrong things, but
Mhm.
that inflammation is there, that water is there, whatever, and the scale doesn't move. And then I feel like I'm not doing the right thing, which I'm
Yeah.
probably clearly not. But the whole thing is just very frustrating, man.
Yeah. This was fun.
Yeah.
Thank you for opening up. I appreciate that. And
No,
I hope this
I
affects.
appreciate the conversation, man.
Yeah, and I hope that, it's great too, because we didn't agree on everything. It's all Podcasts are always boring when people just agree on everything. It's fucking like lame. And I love you, dude. You know what I mean? Like, I love you.
Yeah, I
I'm
appreciate you, Justin. You were there. You made that real. Holy shit! I was just starting. I think it was one of those ones where I was like 2 weeks into the Instagram stuff. I was at like 40K. Now I'm at like 370 something. you know, like life comes at you fast, man.
Yeah. Well, hopefully we can, I don't care about the followers here. Like, that means nothing to me,
Yeah,
but hopefully it allows people to get a kick in the ass. Hopefully it brings you some more support, and really good people in your life. Your life is determined by who you do life with. And,
absolutely.
and I think that social media, in terms of, like, if you're looking for at social media for a monetary gain, it will never ever happen.
Yeah,
It will never ever happen. But if you're looking at social media in terms of like being social and building your network, monetary gain will happen. I promise you that. That is exactly how it works, right?
yeah,
So we're gonna keep building. We're gonna keep doing this thing, and allow you to meet the right people and get your people the right people in your life, and that's what's most important. Because once again, your life is determined by who you do life with.
absolutely. I agree 100%.
Awesome. Well, we'll put all of your information down below so people who see this can go ahead and shoot you a follow. Thank you guys so much for watching this. If you like what you saw, make sure you click subscribe. Make sure you comment, like, all the good stuff to help us with the algorithm. We'll catch you next time on the Justin Wenzel podcast.